How's it going, everybody? It is April 24th. I am gearing up to go back to Berkeley because there may be something happening there on the 27th. So stay tuned, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TimCast for all that breaking news. But today, I want to address the Berkeley conspiracy theories first, okay? Many people keep sending me these emails. Someone's compiled videos alleging that the police are working with Antifa. The mayor is working with By Any Means Necessary. It's the name of the far-left Antifa-aligned group. And that the police were protecting Yvette. They were throwing stun grenades and trying to incite violence. And look, I really just don't think this is true. So let me start with stun grenades. No, I didn't see any stun grenades, okay? I witnessed M80s being thrown. I filmed them up close. You can see them on the ground, little red M80s. And I was within 5 or 10 feet when one of them exploded, and I filmed it straight on. I could feel the blast. My ears popped, okay? It was an M80. People keep showing footage of a mortar and laughing, saying, haha, that's not an M80. Well, yes, obviously it's not an M80. It's a mortar, okay? There's a lot of videos coming out where people are alleging some kind of conspiracy where police are throwing stun grenades because they've never seen a mortar before. If you've ever gone to any 4th of July event or celebration with fireworks, you'll see those fireworks that launch in the air and pop, and flares shoot out in a bunch of different directions. Right? It's like a standard firework we see on the 4th of July. Those are called artillery shells or mortars, and you can buy them very, very easily. And what you're supposed to do is you put them in this tube, you know, these little brown balls, you light them, you put them in the tube, and it shoots it straight up in the air. That's what a mortar is. And then pop, and then you see flares shoot in every direction. But what Antifa was doing was taking them, lighting them, and throwing them like bombs. That's why in the footage you see the explosion and you see flares shoot in every direction. Those are not stun grenades. Let me show you something from Oakland several years ago. This is what a stun grenade looks like, okay? Now this is what we saw in Berkeley. Clearly not a stun grenade. Now people have also said that Antifa was lighting M80s and putting them in glass bottles and throwing them, and I certainly didn't see that or hear that. And if you look at my footage, you know, a lot of the live stream I did wasn't up close in the crowd because the stream would shut down if I got too close due to cell congestion, but you don't hear any shattering. There wasn't any shrapnel explosions with people being lacerated. And quite honestly, if someone put an M80 in a glass bottle and threw it, people would probably be blinded by that. I mean, you'd see serious lacerations, injuries, glass embedded in people's skin. We didn't hear about any of that. So, okay, maybe someone did it, but I didn't see it, I didn't hear it. I don't know anybody who did. And people have also said that the police were protecting Yvette Falarca. Well, so much as the police were protecting any of the groups from each other, in one video from last month, you can actually see the police shove Yvette Falarca to the ground, so I don't think that she's working with the police. I don't think there's some grand conspiracy where the mayor has ordered the police to back Antifa. I just don't see it. Conspiracy theories addressed. I want to move on and talk about the ideology behind the political violence we're seeing. Yvette Falarca went on Tucker Carlson and talked about how these fascists are killing people, and they are recruiting, that people like Milo Yiannopoulos are the soft side of fascism, where they try and play the game right so that they can recruit people. So to clarify, she says there is a violent group that wants to push a fascist, authoritarian ideology. It has already killed people, and it is actively recruiting. That's why she is willing to get violent and fight back. But here's the thing. People on the right feel the exact same way about Islam, and that's what allowed Donald Trump partly to rise to power. People are seeing something similar. They're seeing jihadist terror attacks. They're seeing these people actively recruit on social media. We know it's happening. And we know these people get violent. In turn, we have seen Trump supporters get violent towards Muslims and other minority groups. These happen. This is reality. This stuff happens. But you can't counter isolated incidents and acts of aggression towards minorities that are on an individual basis by going to a rally and attacking peaceful attendees and starting fights. That's not a solution. Now, I want to say this. I'm not speaking to scale. I'm not going to accuse the fascists of being worse than Islam, but there seems to be two different groups. The left is more concerned with the rise of white nationalism, and the right is more concerned with extremist Islam. But I will say that Yvette Falarca is attacking people on the streets. You can see it in these videos. Certainly not the most aggressive, but it's interesting when, you know, like this Reddit thread that went viral the other day showing all of these different stories about Trump supporters getting violent. You could also easily take things like Antifa, where you see them actually beating people in the streets and line them up. Now, I'm not saying which one is more likely to occur. I don't know. And I will say this, in the Our Socialism thread, many of these stories are coming from a partisan website, or, in one instance, one of the stories was about a student who told a story about something happening to the Washington Post, not an actual police report or evidence of something actually happening. So Yvette Falarca is espousing this ideology that fascists are recruiting and they're killing people, and that's very similar to what we're seeing many people on the right say about Islam, but you don't see Yvette Falarca going around beating Muslims in the street. The point is, everyone seems to have their boogeyman. There's a group that they're focused on that they believe to be the highest priority, the worst offender. So it seems that there are extremists on all sides, and depending on which bubble you're living in, you're only seeing half of the story. Certainly, Yvette Falarca is sitting on her Facebook with a ton of left-wing and partisan news websites showing her all of this violence from Trump supporters and white nationalists, and so she's not seeing the other violence. And certainly, the people on the right aren't seeing this kind of violence, and they're only focusing on Islam and other acts of terrorism. So I'm going to say this. I won't condone violence against law-abiding citizens. And I think this is where the real problem with Antifa comes into play. So people often ask me why I'm not reporting on the Trump violence. And that's an unfair assessment of my reporting, because during the rally, I certainly did report that attendees had knives. I certainly did report that some of the attendees to the rally started some of the melees. I called that out just as much as I called out Antifa throwing explosives. But one is a bit more extreme than the other. And then, when you look at these isolated incidents, this list on Our Socialism that was on Reddit, showing all of these different attacks from Trump supporters, yes, these things happen. We know this, but I do on-the-ground reporting, okay? I'm not Google searching and looking through all these stories and then making videos about each individual incident, just like I'm not doing a story on the black nationalists in Fresno, for example, who just killed people because he said, quote, "I hate white people." I'm not reporting on either of those things, and I'm not here to argue which is more of a problem than the other. That's not the point. The reality is that sometimes some people are violent, and we have extremists on all sides. People that are willing to use violence to protect themselves or push an ideology, or they think they're protecting themselves. It is important to realize that peaceful, law-abiding citizens who have organized a rally have every right to do so, and the response to isolated violence from Trump supporters on Muslims or Hispanic people is not to show up to a rally with explosives and attack them. Everyone is in their bubble, and they're only seeing one side of the issue, and that results in people fighting, unfortunately. So I really don't know where this all will lead. But I do know that as more and more partisan platforms start existing, as more and more people only Google search one side of the story, they only read one news website, it's going to keep pushing people further and further away from each other. And I said this the other day, I'll say it again, I really do fear the worst. I think it's going to get bad. So I'm going to be heading to Berkeley most likely, and I'm going to go gear up for that. So just another short video today. But thank you all so much for hanging out and listening to what I had to say. Click the like button because it really helps. Comment below and let me know what you think. Stay tuned for more videos every single day, and subscribe for more videos like this. You can help out by going to patreon.com/Timcast and giving a small donation every month, or by just spreading the word and sharing my videos. Again, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.